So today's topic is human circulatory system from NCERT biology class 12. Okay, so you can see the structure of heart. Okay, so we know that heart is composed of four parts mainly: atrium and ventricle, two atrium and two ventricle. Okay, so left atrium and left ventricle, another right side, right atrium and right ventricle. So what happens in between atrium and ventricle? There is a valve. So this valve is known as bicuspid valve or tricuspid. So we need to remember which side they are located. So in the left side, this is bicuspid valve. Okay, the another name is of bicuspid valve is mitral valve. So we need to remember bicuspid valve or mitral valve, that is located in the left side. Okay, and in the right side, this is tricuspid valve. Okay, so you can see, wait, so two atrium and two ventricle. Okay, now what happens, superior to the right atrium, you can see vena cava is written, right, blue colored part. So vena cava, actually what it does, the vena cava actually comes from the veins. Okay, so it transports deoxygenated blood, means carbon dioxide rich blood from the body parts to the heart, and it is incorporated into the atrium. Specifically it is right atrium. Okay, so in the right atrium vena cava is there, that is known as superior vena cava. Okay, so through vena cava deoxygenated blood, means carbon dioxide rich blood is coming to the atrium. Okay, many other structures are there, I would like to complete all those. So see, sinoatrial node, SA node is located just right upper corner, right upper corner of the atrium. Okay, sinoatrial. And atrioventricular node, that is AV node, this is located in the left lower corner of the right atrium. Okay, so SA node actually the pacemaker, is known as pacemaker because it generates the impulse which is needed for heart contraction. Okay, so polarization, actually depolarization occurs by sinoatrial node, that is located in the right upper corner of the right atrium. Okay, so atrioventricular node is another thing, the normal beat of the sinoatrial node, means impulse generation rate is 70 to 72 per minute. Okay, and here atrioventricular node, it is also able to generate impulse but in a little less extent, and it is around 40 to 50. Okay, so it is around 40 to 50 beats per minute. Okay, so from atrioventricular node you can see some bundle is coming out, and that is known as bundle of His. Okay, from right atrium to the interventricular septum, means ventricle and right ventricle, in between this space, interventricular space, that space is covering by bundle of His. After that, bundle of His is giving two branches. One is going towards right ventricle, another is going towards left ventricle. Okay, and that branch are known as Purkinje fiber. Okay, so it is done. Okay, and this is done. Okay, bicuspid valve, tricuspid valve I already have discussed. Okay, another thing, so superior vena cava, from vena cava deoxygenated blood is coming inside the right atrium, and from left ventricle, oxygenated blood, sorry, deoxygenated blood, left ventricle, okay, wait, ventricle, okay, from left ventricle, from right atrium, right atrium, superior vena cava is incorporated, okay. So deoxygenated blood is coming through to the right atrium. After that it is coming to right ventricle, okay. So from right ventricle deoxygenated blood is going to where? It is only to pulmonary part, means lungs, because there this deoxygenated blood can be converted into oxygenated blood, and this is done through pulmonary artery. We need to remember that usually artery carries oxygenated blood, but in case of pulmonary artery it is carrying deoxygenated blood from right ventricle, okay, done, and remaining oxygenated blood. So oxygenated blood from pulmonary venous is transporting oxygenated blood to the left atrium. From left atrium it is going to left ventricle, and from left ventricle the oxygenated blood is going to aorta, okay. So from left ventricle the oxygenated blood is going through aorta to all parts of the body, and from right ventricle deoxygenated blood is going to the pulmonary artery, and finally to the lungs. So this is because of two different type of circulation. This is known as double circulation, means oxygenated blood is going to all body parts for respiration purpose, and another thing, deoxygenated blood is going to lungs through pulmonary artery. This is because of the double circulation, okay. So almost basic things I have covered already, okay. Okay, now cardiac cycle, okay. So cardiac cycle, what happens, we already discussed that total 70 to 72 beats per minute is the rate of impulse generation by sinoatrial node, SA node. So this means around 0.8 second is the time for each cycle, each beat, okay. So what happens when SA node generates the impulse, then it is circulated to all the parts of heart through this AV bundle, and then bundle of phase, then Purkinje fiber, okay. So when sinoatrial node generates first impulse, then the right atrium and left atrium constricted, okay. So when constricted, the blood present inside the right atrium and left atrium flows to the right ventricle and left ventricle respectively, okay, through the valve, because valve is open now. So now after going to the left ventricle and right ventricle, the impulse generated by SA node is now already circulated to the other parts, means left ventricle and right ventricle. So now ventricle starts contracting. So when it contracts, then blood tends to flow upwards, but the valve present as bicuspid valve and tricuspid valve is now closed because of the pressure generated by the blood flow from left ventricle and right ventricle. So this makes a sound because of the closure of the bicuspid valve and tricuspid valve as well. So this sound is known as love, L-U-B-B, love, okay. So this happened, and now so blood is not able to go to left atrium and right atrium. Now blood can goes to the pulmonary artery and another is aorta. From left ventricle, it is going to aorta, and from right ventricle it is going to pulmonary artery through semilunar valve. Okay, semilunar valve is there in between aorta and left ventricle and pulmonary artery and right ventricle. Okay, so it is done, ventricular contraction done. So now again ventricle, right ventricle and left ventricle now dilated. So when dilation occurs, the blood tends to come back, but the closure of the semilunar valve occurs. So now blood cannot go back to the ventricle, right ventricle and left ventricle. This also makes another sound that is known as dub. So two sounds, lub and dub. Lub is bicuspid and tricuspid valve closure, and semilunar valve closure is known as dub. So lub dub sound is there. Okay, when we use stethoscope, then we can listen this sound easily. So this is the cardiac cycle, total 0.8 second. Okay, only 0.1 second is the atrium part, atrium contraction. Remaining 0.7 second is for left as well as dilation. Okay, so I think this is fine. Another part is there I would like to discuss here. Okay, for now this is fine. Oh, another thing, yeah, 70 milliliter. So 70 milliliter each ventricle when contracts. These each ventricle pumps 70 milliliter of blood when it contracts. Okay, so 70 milliliter into 70 times total the beats per minute. So per minute it comes around 5 liter. Okay, so thank you all.